I'm playing aside, man. Why get married, Pippin? Why?
So, I typed a text to a girl I used to see, saying that I chose this cutie pie with whom I wanna be. And I apologize.
Like you should marry your best friend or somebody you really enjoy being with. Um, so that's what I think about for real. You committing, you saying this is it. I'm happy, I'm satisfied. When I hear marriage vows, I kind of get the feeling that what's being said isn't necessarily true, and I feel like people aren't being held to the same standards that marriage once held. So I feel like it's just a bunch of pretty words.
I think of a strong commitment to my spouse, and I think of a covenant with God, and I think of a beautiful life.
Growing up, my parents were they were married and they were together. And for a time, they were happy. Actually, I take that back. My parents never actually seemed happy in a marriage. So that, I mean, like actually I've never even seen them like hug or kiss or anything like that. So growing up, it was always argument after argument, day in, day out. So I feel like why stay together if you're that miserable? Pretty much. Marriage it's not black and white. I mean, the things you see on TV, the things that are portrayed on TV make it seem like marriage is supposed to be this holy foundation that is just, what's the word? Perfect, and it's not like that. Not at all like that.
And I try to figure out, like, how do people go from loving someone so much, and then they get to this point where it's like, I don't want to see your face anymore. I hate you. I don't want to be with you anymore. And it always like freaks me out.
My parents are divorced, so, and it wasn't a smooth one. So, definitely drawing from that story, I do hold some negative concepts about marriage.
What mistakes do you think people usually make in marriages that make them end in divorce? And with your parents in particular, do you feel like they could have stayed together after whatever they went through? Do you feel like a divorce was necessary?
Well, in the case of my parents, I definitely feel that it was necessary for them to be divorced because they lost the ability to communicate. And I think also my mother lost herself, and it's very hard watching someone who has the potential to be more than they are.
The mistakes we're all guilty of, pretty much. Probably stuff like cheating, secrets. Maybe the guy blew all the money. Maybe the wife blew all the money. Maybe someone has a drug addiction. Maybe someone's beating their kids. Things like that. So, I mean, there are plenty of reasons to get divorced when you think about it, really. I mean, you can't really blame anyone. I don't really see any shame in getting a divorce. I mean, sometimes you just have to walk away from stuff when it just gets to be too much, Everybody has their limit. Everybody has that edge where they can be pushed over and there's just no going back. And just because you get married, that doesn't solve the problem or the fact that doesn't solve the money issues or the infidelity and everything that goes on behind closed doors or all the secrets that are being withheld in a relationship. Like, a lot of people think that having a baby might fix a relationship or getting married might fix a relationship. But it really doesn't change much. I mean, it's a title.
You're just not ready to make that commitment. So you get into it, you think you want it, and it's just like, I'm not mature enough, or I need these other things, or some people make decisions, you know what, I deserve better than this, I deserve more than this. So I think ultimately it's just you get in the relationship and you realize the person you're with is the one you should be with. You didn't know the person who you married, so like people get caught up in lust or get caught up in an idea or other people's pressure, and they just get married, they just rush into it.
Alright, so we're all aware that we can't rush love. But like, in your utopia, at what age would you want to get married?
I just feel like I would be more self-sufficient at 33. I'll be more experienced. I'll have more to bring to the table, not only financially, but just in terms of my understanding of the world. And also, I know that when I get married, I'm going to want to have children. And I just know that it costs almost $500,000 to, you know, sustain a lifestyle for one child. One child. I'm gonna have 3 kids.
I feel like at 27, definitely mature enough. I have an idea how I want to like, where I want to go, like how I want to live my life. And also, I think that's young, but it's still old enough to be like, all right, cool. After I get married, I do want to have kids. Not within the year. It don't have to be like right after. Cause I don't want to be a parent too old. So I feel like, you know, get married, have the children, and build the family from there.
Not around this time. 21 years old is we're still kind of young, figuring out what's going on, dating around. You gotta date around. So I'd say the perfect time to get married would be about age 30, in my ideal world, because I feel like you've matured enough that you know what you want.
That person that you choose to spend the rest of your life with, your husband or your wife, whatever, you choose that person. So if you're constantly arguing and you're like, that's unnecessary stress, because if you were with someone where, you know what I'm saying, y'all can really love each other and y'all appreciate each other, y'all know each other, y'all understand each other, y'all wouldn't argue as much.
Communication is key in all aspects of the relationship or marriage. You have to talk about everything, or at least be able to, there has to be understanding on both sides between husband and wife at all times, because without that it leads to other things, such as insecurities or misunderstandings or unnecessary arguments that can affect the relationship. Another thing is sacrifice, really to be committed to the relationship, to be said, you know, this is my wife, this is my husband, for better or for worse. But other than that though, enjoyment, you know, keeping really that sacrifice you give up, you still also enjoy yourself, enjoy the relationship.
I think it's very important to remember yourself in a marriage, and to continue to be ambitious, and to remember that you're not only there to be one with your husband, but to also remember that if you know, end up having a daughter, that you're a role model for her as well.
So one of the things I get from social media and movies and stuff is keep your relationship a relationship. Don't let everybody else in it. Don't let everybody else really influence it.
When I think about social media and television and all that, none of that is real. So the only thing I have to go on is what's right in front of me, what's right in my direct line of sight.
Their heart, their past, what they want to do in the future. Like, you have to understand all those things, and then you have to figure out, does this fit what I want in my life? Like, because we get married and we become a union.
You can't expect to be with someone all your life and expect them to just be perfect. So I guess it would vary from person to person, but if you feel like this is the person you want to be with, then you got to put up with the things that dishing out. I mean, it's not gonna be all good. It's not gonna be all smooth sailing. So you got to be willing to put in the work and be patient and build on what you have, pretty much. I mean, just because someone does something wrong doesn't mean you have to be so quick to break up.
I just want to tell everybody, love yourself first, because at the end of the day, whatever relationship you're in, you have to love yourself. You have to be honest with yourself, because at the end of the day, ultimately, you're making a decision. The other person is bring things to the table, but so do you. So first start with yourself and be honest with yourself. And everything else will just happen, you know, take it easy sometimes, you know. And also everything, remember, you have expectations and so do they. So when y'all come together, y'all are creating a new.
I like certain rules. I don't mind cleaning. It's just, I feel like, you know, it's 2014, like, it's about to be 2015. Let's share some of those, not all of the rules, but some of the rules, you know, like, there are men who can cook better than me.